Yo, yo, yo. It's a little Wednesday night Lou TV here. We got Andrew with his gangster uh, custom header here, and Zach, who follows the rules of the show and properly sponsors our sponsor, DFS Elite, aka Fantasy Elite. So, Andrew, I'm not talking to you tonight. So, Zach, what's up, buddy?
Not much, man. How about you, man?
I don't know, man. It's just been a weird day. A
Yeah.
weird day. Andrew, I have to talk to you, or else we won't make it for an hour. So, Andrew, let me ask you this: how disappointed are you and Zach Toe for choking in the Fantasy League Championship?
I'm almost as disappointed as I am excited that KD Cannon retweeted me.
Uh,
Oh, it sucks.
Zach,
Like,
do you want to talk a little bit about that stunning loss, that heartbreaker?
yeah, I wasn't celebrating yet because I was in the lead, and then Trevor Knight decided to stay in the game up 50 points into the fourth quarter and throw a touchdown to Sterling Shepard, who he also had, and he won by 13 points.
So
So
they did all that, and you won or you lost barely. That is,
I was like heartbroken watching the TV. Like I couldn't handle it, man. I had to shut it off.
and the funny thing is, it's with the guy that is like the guy we always have been talking crap on. Trevor Knight.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's that bulletin board material.
Yep.
You know,
He probably watched our show and he decided, you know what? I'm staying in, coach. I'm gonna go throw one more touchdown, and I'm about to ruin Zach's day.
well, you definitely ruined it. Although, to be honest, you got second place.
Yeah.
You showed off your skills. You still won a good bit of money. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, the guy did have a good team. I mean, let's
Yeah.
give him some credit here.
And there he is, Ohio State 241, screaming out Trevor Knight. I was going to say something and I forget. It's just been that kind of a day where I just forget everything I want to say. We have a 3-game slate for Thursday. Well, Thursday and Friday. We have some interesting ones. It's going to be a tough slate. I'm not going to lie. We have 2 games that are very capable of some good points putting up, and then we have Louisiana Tech, North Texas, which will be a tough one. But that's why we have you here, Zach, so you can talk about your made-up players, as Andrew would like to say. But we have Houston and BYU and Toledo and Cincinnati. Some interesting.
We'll set this one out.
We'll sit this. Yeah, when we get to that game, we'll just sit out and let Zach talk about his virtual players that nobody in the world has even heard of. We have some interesting storylines though, because Toledo's got a new quarterback. Cincinnati has yet to play a game for some reason. They just decided they were going to come late to the party. And then we have Taysom Hill at a ridiculous price, but in a tough slate, so maybe you got to roll him. And I think we see our first $30,000 running back in Kareem Hunt. So jumping into this first one, and if I ever remember what I wanted to say earlier, then I'm just going to interrupt you guys. So first game, BYU and Houston. Taysom Hill, 36,000. Is it possible to roll him out there with this 3-game slate tomorrow, Andrew?
I think we had a tough time last week trying to fit the $30,000 quarterbacks in. I know I did when I was drafting. I think in one of my games I initially drafted a 30K guy and ended up just having to cut him because it just wasn't feasible. So 36 is tough, man. Especially considering how it looks like most of the guys that are going to hold a significant amount of value in these games are priced correctly. They're priced up where it seems like they should be. Don't get me wrong, there's a couple value plays, but I think it's tough to fit Taysom in and field a competitive lineup.
Yeah, this is where Zach's ability to name players that nobody's ever heard of is going to come in clutch here. If you want to roll Taysom Hill, you're going to have to roll some of these guys that are like too deep, second receiver, second running back that gets touches kind of thing to get some value. Zach, what do you think? Do you think 36,000 is feasible for a stud like Taysom Hill?
Man, it's tough because I'm looking at the slate and I'm seeing, you got Taysom at 36,000, but there's not many people at 5K that you could say, you know what, he could get some solid points this week. Like there might be a couple, I mean, I see Markeith Ambles and Jordan Leslie down here at 5K, but everyone else, it's kind of like, you know what? It's a crapshoot.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I mean, obviously Taysom Hill has been an absolute stud, but isn't there a chance that he just does not play like a stud? It's not like
possible.
Houston's great, but the way he's been producing, you have to think that he's not going to get away with scoring 3 touchdowns on the ground with Jamal Williams back and throw for 181 yards and still have like an unbelievable fantasy point total.
Yeah.
Looking at statistically, Zach, I mean, what do you think his numbers realistically are against a Houston type?
I mean, I think it's safe to say he's going to count for at least 3 touchdowns. I think that's a safe thing to say. But the problem is when you roll him out there at 36K, you better hope he scores 5. You know, like to me, you're putting your whole slate into his hands.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
Let's just put it this way. If you take him, you have to – the rest of your guys average 8K per guy.
Yeah.
And you have to draft a second quarterback too, where the minimum, I think, for a quarterback is 9-something.
Yeah, 9.9 I think Josh Greer is at.
And
so you're really in a bind. And
I don't think there's enough fantasy talent out there for you just to punt the other quarterback position and go 5K there and take a guy that's not even going to play.
Exactly. It doesn't even help you. Even if you do that, then you're talking probably you need to average about 9K for your other guys. So where are you going to get the fantasy points you need from those guys to get a win? I don't know. I don't know if it could be done. Right.
Interesting. I think really that's like the big question of the day. And in the end, I think you just don't do it. That's too much. Like 30K.
Can I say this? Like, if you do take Taysom Hill and you just start kind of picking guys just to fill your roster out at the end, 2 or 3 guys, there's going to be guys out there at 5K that maybe you see later in the week. You do a little more research and you find, hey, he might actually get some touches that he's probably not going to be owned. So go ahead and swap them out. Like, to me, if you're not going to take any of these guys that are 8K and above, like, it's a crapshoot. Really, I'm looking at it. Like, I don't recognize like 90% of these names.
Yeah, if Zach doesn't recognize names, then we're going to be in trouble here. So really, it's not feasible. Some of these quarterbacks that you want are going to be in this 14 to 19K range, realistically. On the other side of the ball, we have John O'Corn, who struggled in the first game. And honestly, I'm not a huge John O'Corn fan, and I think a bunch of people were kind of on him early, and he struggled big time against UTSA. And I'm trying to look up his recent numbers in the last game.
He had the worst stats ever for a 47-0 win.
Yeah, 200 yards, 1 touchdown. But he did provide 3 yards on the ground, Andrew. What are the chances that you're going to own him in this week's matchup?
I mean, he's definitely not my first choice. I feel like even though he's an unknown quantity, you want Gunnar Kiel over him. And then you've got value plays in the North Texas quarterback Greer, granted it was against an SMU team that's given up for the season, but he looked viable and looked like he's getting better last week. The Toledo guy's kind of a complete unknown, right? Did he get in last week at all against Missouri? Zach, do you know?
I don't know. He's played some in years past, though. Like, he's never been the starter, but he's gotten time, so he has experience, I guess.
I'm pretty positive he got in. Let me make sure.
Yeah.
I want to say that he got in for like a significant portion. Torn ACL for Philip Eli. That's brutal. He was 6 of 10 passing for 52 yards. So he didn't play a whole lot, but I mean 10 passes is better than none.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Here's the problem I have with Toledo right now. Like, we don't know anything about Cincinnati at all. And that's scary because they've just been sitting there for 2 weeks preparing for Toledo.
Yeah. What was their Andrew, go ahead.
I think Greer and Kiel are in terms of best value for elite, I think those are my 2 plays at quarterback this week.
Yeah. Andrew, I mean, who are we sponsored by the way, Andrew?
Well, as you can see, I don't know.
As you can see, Andrew has no idea that it's Fantasy Elite. All right, got that covered. Besides the quarterbacks in this Houston BYU matchup, Jamal Williams is probably the biggest name on BYU that's recognizable at least. And we've talked in the past how much of a crapshoot the receivers are. That's still the case in this week. And how much do you like Jamal Williams, Zach?
I mean, I like him. I still think that offense is completely run by Taysom Hill. Like, he's the run-first guy. Like, I guess you could say Taysom Hill's the running back 1, and Jamal Williams is the running back 1A. Like, I think that's how that offense works. Like,
At
I was
12-7, that's nice, though.
Do what?
That's good value at 12-7, I think.
Oh, no, I agree completely. Because if Houston comes up and plays like they did in that opener, BYU could hang 50 on them at home.
Yeah, and I believe David Glasgow had 2 touchdowns and like 80 yards against him.
Yeah.
And that offense is not very dynamic.
Yeah.
And if you look, I like Jamal Williams. I'm board the train of Taysom Hill not consistently running for 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns a game. Like, he's going to score. It's a given. But I would kind of lean towards Jamal Williams having a nice game. He had 89 yards on 19 carries, so he had 20 touches. I mean, so it's not like Taysom Hill is going to get most of those touches, obviously quarterback, but he runs so much. But it's not like Jamal Williams doesn't do anything. And like we said, the receivers are so bad. Inconsistent.
Are they just using Adam Hine in the red zone exclusively? How did that guy score 2 TDs?
Yeah, I think I was watching him play. They played UConn. I think he got like goal line carries.
Well, he was the only running back in that game, for one.
He may not. His touches, I'm sure they'll diminish as Williams gets more integrated in.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I really like Jamal Williams at that 12K-ish price. Let's see, 12.7K. Not a first couple pick for me, but like definitely in that 3, 4, 5 range. This is going to be one of the higher scoring games. You can really pretty much just rule out the North Texas and Louisiana Tech game. It has one that's going to be anywhere near high scoring. So you kind of want to load up on these first 2 games that we're going to talk about. This Houston game is 14-point or 18-point spread, and the total's at 58. So they're looking at, 38 points from BYU. So even if Taysom Hill scores 3 touchdowns, that still leaves 2 on the board. That's realistic. Maybe Jamal Williams can snag a touchdown here. On the other side, Houston, they're going to be, I think total was 20 for them. I mean, who do we see in this running back group as a split carry group? Is Deontay Greenberry really the only guy you can look at?
I mean, I don't think he's the only guy you could look at. I think he's the only guy that you can expect to go over 100 yards consistently. Like, Daniel Spencer, he's got the ability, but he's shown that it's inconsistent. I mean, what are they? I'm trying to see what he's priced at. Greenberry, of course, is your top guy, but I mean, if you want to take a shot, if you're going to go Taysom Hill, I mean, I think you've got to go guy like Daniel Spencer may not be a bad guy to have at 7,400?
Yeah, 7,488.
Yeah, even Greg Ward Jr. 7,500. So I mean, Greenberry, you can't take Greenberry. I don't think if you take Taysom Hill.
Yeah, it's to me, Andrew, and I'll let you chime into this real quick. To me, Daniel Spencer goes at Deontay Greenberry is going to get his points because he's a stud. He makes John O'Corn look like Aaron Rodgers, probably. Like he's just a stud. So Daniel Spencer is not that type of receiver. He needs a better quarterback, and O'Corn is not that guy right now. So for me, you could take a stab at it, but the problem is we're head-to-heads here. So I'm probably leaning towards not doing it unless I'm one of my last picks and there's nothing really else there for the taking. Why would you not go with him, at that situation? But, yeah, so I'm not a big fan of Spencer tomorrow in this format. Andrew, what are your thoughts on the receivers for Houston?
Yeah, I'm kind of, especially if I'm trying, if you're trying to fit Taysom Hill in, you might have to consider Spencer, but I'm more likely to, I feel like you definitely need Leslie on your team if you're going with Taysom Hill, and then you need to consider Mikael McKay as well. He's really cheap at only $6,000. Yeah. After that, it gets a little rough in terms of value for receivers, as far as I can see.
Yeah,
Zach, you're the depth chart guy. We have Shaq Washington. We have Mikael McKay. I feel like there's a third receiver at Cincy who we've counted on in the past. Is there somebody still around there, or are they going to be looking to fill the void?
As far as I know, you got Chris Moore there.
Okay. Yeah.
But again, we haven't seen anything from Cincinnati. We don't even know if Gunnar Kiel is going to be the real deal. You know, like we assume, but we haven't.
He's got those good vibes about him. I'm feeling good about Kiel.
He's got a great name and all, but like.
Yeah, I want to propose one idea, and maybe I'm way off. But is there any possibility Greg Ward plays any quarterback this week against BYU? That's a serious question, by the way.
No, I totally get it. I think it all depends. Like if it gets to a point where John O'Corn just looks like he's just inept of playing the quarterback position, they might say, sure, why not? Let's throw him out there. And if that does happen, that might not be terrible.
Besides the fact that he, is not a very experienced receiver. He got some time last year. I think he had like 5 catches and a touchdown maybe the other day. But realistically, against a good team, he's not going to have a huge day. I would probably go. He's right at the same Spencer. Would you take that chance and go hit Spencer over Ward or Ward over Spencer, Zach?
I would go Ward.
Yeah, I'm reading something right now. I guess he did score last week from the Wildcat. Ward did. So, I guess they'll put him back there if they see fit. But
John O'Corn, man. John O'Corn.
Yeah, you're not going to spend much less for Spencer, so even just that threat alone of him maybe possibly lining up in the backfield as a quarterback.
Yeah, what we need to do is see if there's any way, like on Twitter, if they've maybe scout the Houston message boards and stuff, and see if he's even practiced at quarterback.
Right.
Because, they're not going to throw him out there if he hasn't even taken any reps at quarterback. But it's an interesting idea. Maybe they throw him out there at the very end when they're getting their butt kicked. But, yeah, so before we get to this next game, I've been talking to Adam here, a.k.a. Lou, obviously. We're going to give away a shirt, and because of the fact that I'm a Virginia Tech guy, and Adam is an East Carolina guy, and he's already talking crap about his, talking about his 1-1 Pirates, okay, he thinks that they're going to win without a spread. Here's what we're going to do. For the T-shirt, all you got to do is hashtag LouTV and mention me, or just mention me and just tell me the score of the game. I want to know who wins and by how much, okay? And, so there shouldn't be any duplicates, but if there's duplicates, we'll figure it out. Maybe we do a coin flip or something.
You're the first one who said it. Why not?
Or the first person that said it. That's a good way to go, Zach. So what I want is to tweet me who you think is going to win the game and by how much. And by the way, it's going to be the Hokies by 10, just to give you, a cheat code. So I'll tell that in the chat a little bit later on as well. The second game we're going to be discussing the one now, Toledo and Cincinnati. We kind of jumped into it a little bit with the quarterback and the receivers. Gunnar Kiel is the starting guy, but it's so crazy to think about what's going to happen here. Cincinnati has taken 2 weeks off and done nothing. The big thing that I've heard, though, is that Tuberville is doing the whole Nick Saban, there could be 3 quarterbacks playing this week. And you still have Munchie Legault on Cincinnati. So, Zach or Andrew, what are your thoughts on the QB options for Cincinnati? What they roll with? What do you think here?
Dude, I think Kiel's could be a good option. Just in terms of he's got a better passing set than Cincinnati's seen probably in the last 3-4 years between Legault and Brandon Kay. I feel like it's possible that we'll see them bring in one of the other quarterbacks in goal line situations where they had that guy Llewellyn last year, I think, Jordan Llewellyn, but he's gone. But outside of that, I think it's Keel's job, and I think he goes out there and throws the ball around for a pretty good debut. I don't know. I'm on board.
Zach, do you think Gunnar Kiel is going to get most of those carries? Do you think maybe, or carries, snaps, or do you think maybe Munchie Legault takes some goal line spots away with some wildcat formation.
I mean, even if he does, I think Keel's definitely the best play. I think he might be the best quarterback play in this slate, just because of value, where he's priced, and even we hadn't even seen him, I think he's priced well. But I think when you look at who he's going up against, Toledo's defense has given up an average. They're like 95th in the country giving up passing yards. They gave up 338 to New Hampshire and 325 to Missouri. So Cincinnati could have a good day just on that.
Yeah, didn't Matty Mock have 5 touchdown passes against them last week?
Yeah.
And they're on a short week, playing. This game is this game Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
So a little bit shorter of a week.
And again, Cincinnati has been sitting there preparing for Toledo for 2 weeks.
And Toledo is worried about Mock, and then now they don't even know who really to look at because Tuberville is being all sneaky.
But I think personally in this slate, if I were to do this, I think I would stack Cincinnati, take that chance with the receivers because they're very well priced.
I think stacking Cincinnati is smart for one because sure Gunnar Keel is going to be the only guy that's going to be of any risk. And honestly, I don't think that's much of a risk. There's no way Gunnar Keel beats an injured Munchie Legault, and he's the named starter, and then they just take him out halfway through the game. That's not going to happen. Munchie Legault's, I think, probably a fifth-year senior now. If he was going to win the job, he would have won it already. It's not like he's had lingering injury issues that have held him back. He's healthy. He didn't win the spot. So I think going receivers is an easy, safe one because I think Legault will be fine if for some reason he plays. But I mean, which receivers are we looking at here the most? What would you kind of rank them 1, 2, and 3 here? We have McHale, Washington, and then you said Chris Moore possibly as the third guy.
I think McKay's the number one option based on his value because Shaq Washington's priced up there at $14K. I mean, I don't think there's much difference between those two guys. Statistically, I think for the price, McKay's the guy. Washington would be good, nice to have, but if you can't get Washington, I think you have to get McKay and maybe even more.
Maybe even some more.
Is more in the slate?
I don't know. I just assumed that he was.
Let's see here real quick.
Yeah.
He's 5K. Yeah.
Nice. Good call, Zach. That's a Zach special.
There's 6 mores in this slate, so make sure you pick the right one.
Chris Moore.
3 mores in that game.
Oh my God. I mean, McKay at 6.3, man, that's a good one. And honestly, I like Shaq Washington at 14K. I'm not scared off of. Would you roll Greenberry, Andrew, or Shaq Washington for almost the same price?
Greenberry.
Okay, Zach, what do you think?
Cincinnati's been spreading the ball around so much in their passing game that I think Greenberry's good for 100 just because of game flow and just it seems like they're always trying to target him. I mean, and for good reason. He's obviously extremely talented.
Yeah, I mean, I think Greenberry is a lock for 5, 6, maybe 7 catches for close to 100 yards. I mean, I think that's what he's going to be almost every game. And even when they don't play well, heck, they got beat 27-7 in that first game, and he still had 6 catches for almost 100 yards. And they looked awful. O'Korn looked like he had never taken a snap in his life, and he still had a decent game.
I like Washington more, I think. I just think that, I don't know. It's tough because you haven't seen Cincinnati play, but, John O'Korn is so bad at times.
Let's do a draft one.
I mean, I'll play you guys in a head-to-head and draft Shaq Washington over Deontay Greenberry. We can go, first pick. I don't know how we would do that, but we would, agree that our last pick would be those 2 receivers or something, maybe. Let's do it. I'll do it. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I need some action for tomorrow night anyways. I just think that, Washington has a better chance of a touchdown. John Corn had 1 touchdown against Grambling or whoever the heck they played. And he, if he had 6 catches for 96 yards in one game and 5 for 110, That's like probably 20 fantasy points each time.
Yeah.
At best, like Washington's upside is way better than that. But I don't know. This is why you play the game on the field, guys, with Zach's fake players. But anyways, maybe talking the other side of the ball. Toledo, we have a new quarterback. Philip Eli got hurt, so Logan Woodside is in at quarterback now. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
So quarterback, we said, 10 passes last game. Filling in, have not seen a whole lot of him. He's 13.3K against Cincinnati, a team we have no idea about because we haven't seen him this year. What are your thoughts on his potential this week, Andrew?
It's tough, man. I mean, I don't think I can rate him too lowly in terms of the slate just because you're unlikely to take Taysom. O'Corn, he's like, I mean, we've talked about that enough. That's fine. So I think you have to consider him for sure. That being said, you would think that Toledo's going to game plan exclusively trying to get the ball in Kareem Hunt's hands, at least unless the game gets out of control. But I mean, I guess you never want to rate a guy too highly who his team isn't even thinking they want to make him the main priority from a quarterback standpoint.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, the only thing we have to go statistically for the defense of Cincinnati, their pass defense last year was like top 30 in rating, and they gave up like 16 passing touchdowns in 13 games. Now, I would still say that you have to consider Woodside if you don't get a guy like, Gunnar Keel or, some of these other guys we've discussed already. So maybe you consider him as like a third, fourth, fifth option, but I wouldn't target him early on, that's for sure. I don't think his price is low enough where you can do that. Zach, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Cincinnati, like you said, their pass defense was very good last season. Their rush defense was 6th in the country, giving up, in terms of yards per game allowed. Gave up just over 100. So Kareem Hunt's going to have a tough go of it. I mean, I know that it's not the same defense, I get it, but I got to think that it's going to be similar. And
where's Philip Steele's returning defense percentage? Can we look at that?
We could. They have 6 returning starters on defense.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's enough. It's just tough to look at. Let's see. Percent of tackles returning. Just keep going. Just keep talking about
and I just
offense.
I think Hunt. It's tough to play him, too, because he's so highly priced at $30K. I mean, he's clearly the best running back on the slate, but again, is he really worth the price tag?
I mean, just in comparison to Jamal Williams at 12 or Kenneth Farrow at 7 even,
right.
That's 25% or 40% in terms of what they cost.
Even the 2 Cincinnati backs, you could take both Cincinnati guys, and it still wouldn't even equal the Kareem Hunt price.
Right.
Yeah, and I think also something to look at. I mean, wouldn't you rather just pay up an extra $6K for Taysom Hill?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to talk about crazy pricing, it's not that much further than Taysom Hill, and at least Taysom Hill is going to be a guaranteed 3 touchdowns. So
I think he's guaranteed 3. That's my opinion. So
yeah, I mean, I think 3 is an easy guarantee with them scoring 38 points.
And they're at home, too, guys. That helps a little bit, too. It's not like they're traveling all the way to UConn to play a game. Which, by the way, my Boise State Broncos do this week. Have an 11 o'clock kickoff. I'm pretty excited about it.
Of course, the Boise State shout-out. Of course. Did not take long. All right, so Toledo, we kind of discussed Kareem Hunt is not really – I mean, I guess if Taysom Hill is gone and you want to get crazy, but that's going to be tough for that to make that happen. Receiver-wise, Alonzo Russell, 13.8K. Is he an option, Zach?
He's an option, but if we're talking Greenberry, Washington, and Russell, I'd go those other 2 guys before I go Russell, especially with the new quarterback against a pretty good Cincinnati defense we're expecting, right? So, yeah, I don't think I touch him this week.
Yeah, not with the receivers at the same, the 2 guys we've talked about, Washington and Greenberry, at that same price.
And then BYU's receivers are all very good value plays, like all of them.
I think I'd take a chance on those guys rather than almost 14K for Alonzo Russell against a defense that was good against the pass last year, a new quarterback. Anybody else on Toledo you think that's worth mentioning? I think really those like Eli, Russell, and Hunter, they're three big offensive players, and one of them's out. We talked about the other two. What do you think?
And they got Corey Jones, another wide receiver, and he's 5K. But again, like it's tough to take a wide receiver with him. I guess if you were going to take a wide receiver, he would be okay to take because he's only 5K. But other than that, I'm not touching it.
Yeah, 5K. You never really have that much of a trouble, sleeping at night over that pick. But then again, that's the head-to-head slate. That's kind of a risky just because you could get a big zero from them. Looking at this last game, Louisiana Tech and North Texas. This is one that is a 47-point total. I think it's trying to do real quick math here. 25 points for North Texas.
Up over 40 points last week.
Oh my God!
So you think, Andrew? You think it's going to go over then?
I don't know. I just think it should. I mean, I get that they faced defenses that aren't as good as the ones that they have. Especially, like, there's no defense worse than SMU right now.
Which is funny. That whole SMU situation is just very odd.
It sucks that June Jones is gone because I was looking forward to picking on him all year, just in terms of just stacking against him and betting against him and talking smack on that team. I mean, it was going to be great. It sucks that it had to go down early.
That's like the worst, like the most insensitive thing you could say about that situation. But don't you think that defense is still going to be that defense for at least the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, but it's always different, and I guess you see it more in the NFL where teams just give up. So, and then, it's just fantasy goodness from there. But I don't know. I'd like to know for sure that SMU is likely to give up. Who knows? Maybe they get a coach that they like a little more now. But at the same time, yeah, obviously, if they weren't good, you don't expect them to be great now. Let's get back. I guess we can get back on topic.
Of course. Do we have to? This game is going to be pretty rough. There's only five guys in double digits in this one. Cody Sokol, the former Iowa quarterback, he transferred over. 22K. There's no way we roster him in a low-scoring game, right?
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
We've seen how former Iowa quarterbacks have looked this year. Isn't that guy from Wisconsin a former Iowa quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. McAvoy.
McAvoy.
Yeah.
Oh, he did have some touchdown passes the other day, I guess. What about running backs? Any running backs in this game that tickle your fancy, Zach?
Before the season started, I was on board of Jimerson's train here, so I'm really disappointed because I was counting on a lot of big things from him, mainly because he's on my Dynasty League team. But I'm just saying he's getting cut this week. So no, I don't like anybody in this game. Reggie, I guess Pegram he saw the bulk of the carries last week until it got, I guess, out of hand. But
he's averaging. Who just beeps, by the way?
Did
you hear that? Andrew, what's up with your background noises today?
My bad, dude. I live in a city.
Who are we sponsored by, Andrew? Anyways, yeah, Pegram, 36 carries, 131 yards. That's a 3.6 yards per carry. That's not good.
Yeah.
The two quarterbacks for North Texas don't have a touchdown pass. So my question is, who is scoring touchdowns for North Texas? Seriously, they have what? Three total offensive touchdowns. And then they have 5 field goals. And they have 2 place kickers. What is the deal with them this year? What in the world is going on here? Anyways, yeah, I think it'd be really, really, really dumb to roster anybody in this game that's double digits. I would really try hard to avoid it. There's going to be one of these guys that's going to do well. It's not going to be Sokol. But one of these 4 that are in the double digits besides Sokol are going to have a manageable, good game. But you're going to pick the wrong one most times. There's just really hard predicting this one. Louisiana Tech, I guess this Dixon guy had a good game. 226 yards, 8.1 yards per carry. I mean, is there any reason to believe 21K, though, is worth it for him, Andrew?
He's been really good in the past. We're talking about Kenneth Dixon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I know about him is that he had an amazing year in 2012. Kind of wasn't that good in 2013. But was that 21 carries his line for the year or just his last game?
He's got 28 carries on the year. He had 12 carries last game against UL Lafayette and ran for 184 yards.
I mean, it's tough to say that isn't impressive. It seems like we've kind of hated on everybody who's a lot of money. So, with the exception of Greenberry, Shaq Washington, Gunnar Keel. So, assuming you get one of those guys, where are you throwing the rest of your money to make sure you're getting some valuable players in this game?
That's a good point. Honestly, I think that's not terrible. Kenneth Dixon, if you're not going to go Taysom Hill anyway, Kenneth Dixon, I think he might be a better play than Kareem Hunt this week.
Dude, he had 27 touchdowns, 28 touchdowns in 2012.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. That is a lot of touchdowns. Yeah, I think after what you said, Andrew, I think that's a good point. Like, who else would you even roster? I mean, think about it. Like, going down the list of players, you obviously have Taysom Hill, but then you have Dixon at 21, then Keel at 19, and then you have like the two receivers, Washington at Greenberry in 14 and 15, and then you really don't have anybody till Jamal Williams at 12, and then who else is there that's double digits? You know, like who would you spend your money on?
Yeah.
Maybe this is shaping into a get Taysom Hill pick though.
Nah.
No.
I mean, that's tough, man, because I think, like you said, there's going to be somebody, maybe even a couple guys in this game that are going to be very good plays this week. You just don't know which one, and it's hard to tell because their offenses are both so kind of like just up in the air. But, you know, I think there's guys like, you know, Kenneth Dixon, like you said, he went 28 touchdowns a couple years ago. I know it's 2 years ago, and he had 184 yards last week. I don't think North Texas is going to put the lockdown on him and keep him under 100.
Yeah, I think I can get behind, after correcting that statement, I think I can get behind Kenneth Dixon at 21K. If you don't go Taysom Hill, who else would you even spend money on? Because there's some there's legitimate good players in that single-digit range. You know, you have McHale, you have Ward's there. You have the two Houston running backs you can pair up together. One thing I want to talk about not really quickly, but before we stop, is the Cincinnati running back situation. They have Ralph Abernathy and the other guy. Who's the other guy?
Hosey Williams.
Hosey Williams. I mean, what's their situation there besides the fact that it's the first game and we don't really know for sure? Is there anything that's been told about this situation?
I haven't really looked much into it as of late, but I know all summer it was, you know, they're going to kind of just be sharing the carries. But I think, like we talked earlier, like taking both of those guys, because they're not priced very high. I think I'd take both of those guys before I took Kareem Hunt this week.
Yeah, I think, is that more of a sexier pairing than Farrow and Jackson from Houston, you think, as well, Andrew?
It's a good question. I'm more on board with Abernathy and Hosey. I think I would assume that they'll use Abernathy the same way they have in the past, where they throw him some short passes, give him some carries in space. He's not going to get the ball 5 times in between tackles on a drive. So, but I mean, I would expect their touches to be no more than like 60-40 one way or the other.
Right.
But the fact that, I mean, you'll probably see them both on the field at the same time sometimes too. But just in terms of game flow and just the fact that I like Cincinnati to score more points than Houston, I mean, I'd rather have those two than Farrow and Jackson, I think.
All right, so here's something that's very intriguing. I just looked up the depth chart for Cincinnati. They have Hosey Williams named the running back starter. Okay, not surprising until you see Tion Green is the backup running back. And then you see Ralph Abernathy is the backup Y receiver. So does that change anything for us in terms of overall scheme of where we like Hosey Williams?
I think it stays about the same, just because the way they use Abernathy isn't as an every down kind of back. They definitely split him out wide. They'll give him some wildcat. They'll give him a carry here and there. But I think it just kind of solidifies everything we've thought about those two.
And Zach, we see the receivers. They have 4 listed: Chris Moore, Shaq Washington, Mikhail McKay, and then Max Morrison as the 4th wide receiver. He doesn't get a cool lettered nickname like X, Y, and Z. But yeah, those are the 3 guys we mentioned, and then obviously Max Morrison as well. Do you think that running back situation is what Andrew said? It kind of plays out like that, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of stays the same, like as we've seen in the past. It's kind of a shared thing. I know you said that they've got Abernathy at receiver, but he had like 25 catches last season, I believe. Abernathy did. So they obviously they want to get him the ball. I think both of those guys would be good plays this week. But again, I think we go lean receivers. If you're gonna stack Cincinnati, I think you stack the receivers.
Are we missing anything here on the slate? Any player we've missed? I mean, this is a tough slate. I mean, whoever wins these ones is either really lucky or really good, because.
Let's address this real quick, because maybe I missed this during the game. Does North Texas play 2 quarterbacks, or was it just that Greer started and then they brought in the other guy when the game was a blowout?
I think they brought in the other guy when the game was a blowout.
Yeah, I agree. Quarterbacks definitely. Zach, if I put a gun to your head, which 2 quarterbacks in terms of value are you taking?
I'm taking.
After you call 911, Zach.
Right, that's my first step. I'm taking. I'm taking Gunnar Keel. Probably Greer from North Texas, and just loading up.
But you're not gonna like it.
Right, but I'm gonna load up on receivers and other positions. I feel like it's basically I'm punting the other quarterback position, but with a guy that's going to play.
Yeah, it's too bad Sokol is not in that low teens range, because I think that guy. I mean, he's got 4 touchdowns on the year at least.
Yeah, if he were like 15K, I'd take Keel and Sokol, no problem.
Oh man, does Greer get his first touchdown of the season? What? I mean, talk about entertainment. If you're not staying up late to watch these games with Josh Greer at the helm, I mean, come on, that's a 49-point total.
If you're not watching these games, I question your DGen status.
Yeah. How would you rank these games in terms of entertainment value? I mean, I think it's a pretty simple one, but really quick, to give us something to talk about here for the next 15 minutes. Andrew, rank them for me.
So I can already see how my night's going to play out. I've got class till around 9. I'm going straight to a happy hour and playing catch-up after that. Hopefully they'll have the Cincinnati game on. I'll come back really messed up, and I'll catch the end of that terrible game, but it might be decent because I'm going to be pretty messed up.
That is so awesome that you're just like, yep, here's my schedule, class, bar, I'm catching up on drinks, which means it's going to be all downhill from there. Unless that North Texas game is on, and then I'm just set for the rest of the night.
That Louisiana Tech North Texas game has overtime written all over it. has
nobody scores until the third OT.
Like 13-13 at the end of the game, and the winning team scores like on a blocked field goal or something like that.
Like a blocked extra point. They finally both scored a touchdown in the 4th OT, and they blocked the extra point to win it.
That game, to me, it's on the CBS Sports Network. Yeah, it's not even on like national television. Like, you have to have like an extra sports package to have that channel. So yeah, it's definitely not expected to be the shootout that we're wanting.
What time is that one at?
8 Eastern. Then BYU's at 9 on ESPN.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That game should be on at midnight.
It probably will be. you probably get to watch a rerun at midnight.
Maybe I'll save it.
just don't tape it, or just don't check your phone all night. Man, is there any hot button topics you want to discuss really quick, college football wise? Anything? Maybe thoughts for the early weekend? Early thoughts for this weekend or anything like that?
Can I say something about this 4-team playoff? I know I've said something before about it.
Go for it, man. This is your time to shine.
Like, I cannot stand the fact that these guys are, like, after 1 week, maybe even 2 weeks, they're talking about, these are my 4 playoff teams. Like, who cares? These 4 teams don't mean anything. I guarantee you, of those 4 teams, one of them will probably make it.
Yeah, but they're not trying to appeal to you, Zach. They're trying to appeal to the casual idiot.
I get it, but like, I just hope that these like early projections like this don't have an influence on the final product. You know what I mean? Like these rankings that they put out, like, well, they were number 3 when they beat them back in September, but they ended up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
I think we know Georgia and Virginia Tech are meeting. So
right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's happening.
But like, okay, let's say like,
Boise already has a loss.
Texas A&M absolutely demolished South Carolina. But like, let's say South Carolina comes out and gets stomped this week by Georgia, like, and they didn't put up any fight. Like, are we starting to now think, well, maybe South Carolina's not any good? Like, how much does that take away from Texas A&M and Georgia?
You know what bothers me? You know what I think is like outrageous? Well, I mean, what was Georgia ranked before that win against Clemson?
Like 15?
Oh, okay. I thought they were like in the 20s. You know what? I'm a Virginia Tech fan. I don't think we deserve to be top 20. Do you guys think Virginia Tech deserves to be top 20 after 2 games?
They look good, but I mean, Ohio State look bad too.
I mean, rankings are a joke until 10.
I mean, let's be real. Our starting quarterback had less than 200 yards passing, and we had our leading rusher. Do you guys want to take a stab at how many yards our leading rusher had in this game?
14.
No, very close. Let me get the exact number for you, but it's below 50. It's below 50, which is obnoxious. I think it was Shea McKenzie. We used like 6 different guys to run the ball, which is brilliant. Let's see here really quick. I should have had this prepped up and ready to go.
He had 7 yards. Shea McKenzie did.
Okay, so it wasn't Shea McKenzie. It was Deion Newsome with 38 yards. Marshawn Williams with 20 yards.
Studs.
1.7 yards per carry for Marshawn Williams. And by the way, Deion Newsome is a freshman receiver. without a catch on the season. What are we doing?
Yeah. Winning games. That's all they're doing.
Winning football games, Andrew. Really quick, we're going to get out of here in about 2 minutes. Georgia, South Carolina, the spread's 5.5. You think Georgia wins and covers, or you think they just win?
I think we just win.
Okay. And Zach, I believe your Boise game is like a 17 or 11 or 12-point underdog for UConn going East Coast. What do you think about your Boise State, whatever the heck you guys are, blue field turf guys against UConn?
I think they should cover easily. But
you think so? Dude, you were pretty on last time with your prediction on this Colorado State Boise game.
What did I say? I don't even remember.
That Boise would be a high-scoring game, that Hedrick would play better, that Ajayi would be awesome, and that pretty much Matt Miller and a lot of points would be scored, and that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, I really went out on a limb there, didn't I?
No, but to be fair, you named the guys that were the best.
Well, no, I think like the travel is a factor. Like it's a long way to go. I think UConn's pretty bad after watching them seeing their score last week. Didn't they play like Rhode Island or somebody like that? And they like it was like 10-10, like middle of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and they have Chandler Whitmer at quarterback now too.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should cover. They won 19-16 over Stony Brook.
Stony Brook's practiced all season though, so give them some credit.
I hear you. But I think Boise should cover pretty easily. If not, then that's the problem.
I think I agree with both of you. I think Boise covers, and I think South Carolina gets enough with the 5.5 or whatever it is right now.
So you don't think Georgia covers the 5.5?
No, I think they win by a field goal.
Really?
See, I think Clemson's.
We'll take what we can get. We haven't beaten South Carolina. Shoot, I don't even know how long. It's been a while though.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough for Georgia at South Carolina recently, but I think Clemson's overrated. I think the Georgia's a little overrated right now because of the fact that people think Clemson is good when I think Clemson's just not a good team right now.
Basically, like Todd Gurley's ranked, he's in the playoff, but Georgia is not. That's kind of how I feel like these guys on ESPN are like portraying Georgia. Like he is the reason Georgia's even good at all.
And like I'll tell you what.
Or is that what ESPN's saying?
No, that's what I'm saying is that's like they've jumped Georgia like to the number 1 team in the playoff. I've seen that.
They have 4 awesome running backs. I get Gurley's.
I know. Go ahead.
I get that Gurley's amazing.
Yeah.
But there's more to the team than that.
I agree. Like it's almost like they hype. They're like all on the Gurley train, man. And it's like, you know, the only reason Georgia's even relevant is because of him. And I'm like, I don't think that's really true. I mean,
right.
You know, the problem with having 4 great running backs is that it's 2014 and nobody runs the wishbone anymore, Andrew.
Can you imagine if Alabama ran the wishbone?
They did run the wishbone. Yeah, that's a crazy little.
No, like now, like I'm talking like Yeldon, Drake, Henry, go.
They should, man. I like Kenyon Drake this weekend, by the way.
Again?
Yeah, because for one, it's Southern Miss, so worst case scenario, he's going to get carries because he's a third running back. And 2, Saban went out of the way last week and said we're going to get Drake more touches, and then they got him more touches in the first half. So I'm on Drake as long as he's not crazy priced. Like I think his price across some of these sites is decent, but I don't even think I don't think Bama's available in any of the slates on DraftKings.
Whoa! I'm the only one who's allowed to go against our.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I want to use Amari Cooper because that guy is catching balls like he's Megatron.
Have you watched their games, the Alabama games?
You know, I sadly had to hear the game against FAU. The guy next to me had the radio on the whole time on it. It was pathetic.
Yeah, I think Amari Cooper caught 2 passes behind, like beyond the line of scrimmage that whole game. Like they talked about, Blake Sims is like this. You know, he's a really good quarterback. He didn't throw but 3 passes downfield.
That's why. Who plays FAU this weekend?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I should know this. I was just writing about him.
Where the heck? Tulsa.
Dane
Evon Lucas, baby.
Evon Lucas, baby. Yeah. Get on board, Andrew. There's more room for you.
All right, good to hear.
But anyways, guys, that's the show for the night. We're giving away a T-shirt. Predict the winner and by how much of the Virginia Tech ECU game. That's at noon Saturday. The ultimate trap game for Virginia Tech. The score, or I guess the winning total, and the team. Tweet it to me. Tweet it with Lou TV. Tweet it to Andrew. Tweet it to Zach. Tweet it to somebody, and we're gonna get this together. First person to get it right wins a T-shirt from Lou Dogs. So make sure you hop on that opportunity, guys. Besides that, I will not be here on Friday, but sadly I'm leaving it to Andrew and Zach to run the show. I'm scared. I'm going to be watching the rerun, and I'll probably cringe and sit in the corner and cry for about half of it. You guys think you can handle it? Andrew, are you going to host, or is Zach going to host?
No comment.
I think it's a co-hosting effort here.
A co-hosting effort. I like it.
All right,
guys.
I want to just go ahead and say we're going to be talking FCS. So if you guys don't want to hear about North Dakota State and South Dakota, then
it's perfect timing because they have game day at the North Dakota State Incarnate of the Word game.
You know, I didn't even think about that, but perfect.
Perfect timing. We're all about it. You know, hyping up the ESPN train even more because you know they need more viewers from ESPN sent over from us.
Yeah.
But anyways, Friday night, I'm sure it'll be 9 or 9:30. Keep on the lookout for that. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Check out Fantasy Elite's action for Thursday's games. Although the North Texas Louisiana Tech game is going to be a struggle, the other 2 games are going to be more than entertaining. especially for Andrew, who's going to be half conscious during them. So take a look at it tomorrow, guys, and enjoy. All right.